because you get up at 4, woken up by the gong, then you follow this line of men in the night with the torch. Hi everyone, this is the story of my first Vipassana retreat. I'm going to talk about what were my expectations before getting to the retreat. I'm going to talk about what actually happened during those 10 days and then express my final thoughts. I hope it can be useful to you. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about day 0. On day 0, you check into the facility, you give your phone, you give your belongings, you have a light dinner, you go to bed, and you enter noble silence. Noble silence is the commitment not to speak, not to talk to anyone. Of course, if you have any problem, you can talk to your tutor. There's a tutor for the males, a tutor for the females. You can talk to the teacher when it is allowed. You can ask him questions. All your talking with the teacher should be limited to the technique itself. Other than that, really, you are just into yourself and you have to avoid eye contact as well. Let's talk about the first 3 days. On the first 3 days, you're going to be focused on your breathing. This technique is called anapana, and your attention is going to be in this area right here. A triangle, as you can see, that goes from the base of your nose to your upper lip. You have to do this because you have to sharpen the knife of your attention, because you're about to perform a surgical operation on your mind. These words that I just said are a metaphor used by Goenka. Goenka is the teacher that popularized Vipassana all over the world. He's gonna do much of the talking through a recording. Your teacher is just gonna be there to meditate with you. That's actually what he said on the very first day. He said, I'm here to meditate with you. So he's not gonna talk that much. He's always gonna be there if you need to ask him questions. Other than that, it's gonna be just silence and your thoughts. I got into this retreat with the mindset of someone who's about to get into a big psychedelic trip. I was expecting something big to happen, some kind of grand vision, life-changing, all this sort of thing. What I found on the cushion was much more real and much more humbling, because I found pain. My back was super tight. I was not trained to meditate for 10 hours a day. I was nowhere near that amount. Actually, I was just meditating like for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, resting my back against some kind of surface, against the wall, against my bed. So, I kind of thrown myself into the fire there. So I realized right away that I'd gotten myself into something really, really hard, but I was very determined not to leave. And so I said to myself, I'm not going to leave no matter what. I'm just going to stay here and suffer. I'm going to take it as a martyrdom. And if nothing happens, if I'm not going to have anything else but pain, it's anyway going to be one of the most difficult things that I've ever done in my life. During question time, I realized that there were many other people in my same situation. They were very worried that the exercise, so to speak, was not good because the pain was just unbearable. But the teacher was just there reassuring us and saying that everything was part of the process. So we just had to trust the process. On day 4, you actually start to practice Vipassana. So from day 4 to day 7, you start practice Vipassana, and your attention is going to shift from this area to this area, the top of your head. And then you're going to explore all the surface of your body from top to bottom and from bottom to top. So Vipassana, roughly speaking, can be defined as a body scan technique. What's so special about it? My idea is that it looks a bit like psychoanalysis, but on a skin level. In psychoanalysis, you start from the symptoms and you go deep down in your psyche to search for the root of the problem. In Vipassana, you do the same. You explore the surface of your skin. You realize that something is going to come up where you have a muscle knot, where you have pain, or just as you go through your body. And as you go through this process, something is going to come up to your mind. Memories, visions. Some people are going to cry. I did not cry, unfortunately. I had a lot of pain, but I had visions. I had visions of people that are no longer here, that were just beside me in the meditation hall. But it's nothing like I was expecting it to be. I was not blown away, by all means. I was very calm. I knew they were just memories, and it was okay. It's a bit like shiatsu. I don't know if you've ever had a shiatsu massage. As they go through your body and they find a tight spot, when they work on that tight spot, you're going to have memories. You're going to have traumas that is stored there. It looks like something similar to me. That's what it seemed to me, like a massage that you do with your mind. You learn to feel your body, and you learn the difference between feeling what is actually happening in your body and imagining. Most of the body scan techniques that I've done, they were like imagining a light coming on the top of your head and all these kind of things. While Vipassana was, no. You don't have to imagine anything. Vipassana is not about imagination. Vipassana is about sensations. So just feel what is actually happening and accept it as it is. Vipassana wants you to grow two wings. One wing is the one of awareness, and the other wing is the one of equanimity. So be aware of what's happening, but be equanimous. Something good is happening, be equanimous. Something bad is happening, an unpleasant feeling, be equanimous, just the same. Day 8 and day 9, I like to call them the precious days, because you realize that this is a luxury. Being able to meditate and not to worry about anything else is a great luxury. When was the last time you were so disconnected from the outer world and so sheltered from the outer world? Maybe in the womb, not even probably. So this is a very peculiar time of your life. And think about a block of 10 days chosen randomly from your life. How many of those blocks can you remember? Probably not many. But you're not gonna ever forget what's happening during these 10 days. You're gonna always remember. So make the most of it. Probably by day 7, day 8, you're gonna have the first pain-free session of your retreat. This is what happened to me. It happened to me on day 7. I thought it would have been a downhill journey from then on, but God, I was wrong. I was still suffering on day 8 and 9. But it had gotten better, and I learned to appreciate the very first session of the day, because you get up at 4, woken up by the gong, then you follow this line of men in the night with the torch, going into the silent meditation hall, where it's all dark, and silent, and you feel there is this kind of energy. And at that point, your body is very rested because you just slept the whole night. You can't wait to meditate, really. Also, every night, there's a little thing that they add to the technique, and you are very eager to practice in the morning. At least this is how it was for me. I didn't feel sleepy at all. I felt actually well rested. The food was amazing. So, all in all, it was a great experience, really. Now let's move to day 10. I like to call it the cushion day. Day 10 is the day where you break the noble silence. After the morning meditation, you get out of the meditation hall and you're allowed to speak again. Day 10 is a joy because if you work properly, you can now talk with your fellow meditators. At that point, you're just starved for connections. All you've heard is like people coughing, people sneezing, bowel movements. That's about it. And now all of a sudden you can talk again. You can compare what happened to you and what happened to the other people. You can joke and laugh together. Day 10 is a joy. If you work properly, it's a joy. It's a cushion day because they don't want you to get back into the society. It could be kind of a shock, and I think they're very right. So the 10th day, it's kind of to ease into it. So what I've learned from this retreat? I learned that I can do something difficult. I learned that I can put myself into something uncomfortable and get through it. I would like to tell you that it has been life-changing, but that would be a lie. So I learned a new technique. If I want to see results, I have to apply it day in and day out for 2 hours a day. You are advised to do this, and you are warned that if you're not going to do it, you're just going to revert back to your old self. Should you do it? I think that if you have gotten this far into the video, there's something calling you there. Because you're not going to remember the days you spent at the office, but you're going to remember these 10 days. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. This was just a quick overview. If you want to ask anything, feel free to do so. And if not, I'll see you next time if you want. Take care and have a good life.